YouTube, welcome to Marbury's Butler World of News, and this here is a more in-depth review of the Ravens' disappointing season. We're gonna start from the beginning, go to the end. We're gonna talk about the highs, the lows, the changes that should have been made, players that should have been played, their performance, and then we'll talk about the bright spot in where the Ravens. We have a great roster, we have a great front office, we have a great owner, and the promising future that we have. I also have a crazy, ironic Tyler Loop story. Week one against the Buffalo Bills. It's a long awaited off season. You know, our front office did their thing. Got a lot of key acquisitions. We got Jair Alexander and we drafted Malachi Stark, so we knew the defense was going to be, doing their thing. And we still got King Henry and Lamar Jackson. So we just knew that the offense was going to do their thing. And this has to be the year Lamar gets over the hump and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen in the playoffs, right? Week one, chance to make a statement against a team that you lost to in the playoffs last year, the Buffalo Bills. And we come out smoking. Derrick Henry running up and down the football field, looking like an elite 22-year-old running back that he once was, until the fourth quarter when he had a crucial fumble and changed the whole trajectory of the game. And something that Steve Scotty spoke about during his presser about John Harbaugh were the late fourth quarter collapses. And I believe that's the first few weeks, those collapses psychologically put us in a bind that we, quite frankly, never got out of during the season. So we had the late fourth quarter collapse. We ended up losing that game 41-40. But we all woke up the next morning still feeling like we have one of the best teams in the National Football League. From fans to the media, I heard everybody say that they felt like that night they were watching the best two teams in football. So we move on to week two to Cleveland. We defeat them 41-17. And then week three against the Lions. Again, another late fourth quarter collapse. But it was also highlighted by the king himself, Derrick Henry. And it was, a crazy thing because we all looked at Derrick Henry as like the answer for Lamar Jackson. Somebody who could take the weight off of Lamar Jackson's shoulders when it comes down to running the ball. I mean, we seen Derrick Henry in Tennessee, and I mean, he had A.J. Brown, but, he effectively had no offensive line. And, I mean, we see him single-handedly, rush for 2,000 yards. And, he's been one of the most consistent running backs the NFL has ever seen. And, we just expected so much out of him. But we ended up getting a declining Derrick Henry. And, I feel like it's a double-edged sword sometimes when you sign veterans, which is what we do when it comes down to pass rushers, receivers, and running backs. Well, I'm sorry, not as much running backs, but really pass rush receivers. But instead of splurging on those positions, we'll go get veterans, and you even going to get two outcomes out of that. They're going to either prove that they are washed up, or they're going to make that one last, hoorah, that one last attempt to try to revive their career. And with Derrick Henry, he's over 30. We gave him all that money during the offseason, $30 million over 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. And he comes into this season fumbling in three straight games while also contributing to us losing and blowing two fourth quarter leads against two elite teams because he fumbled in their territory at the end of the game. And I mean, as a fan of football, being a Ravens fan aside, as a fan of football, it really hurt, like seeing the demise and downfall of Derrick Henry. But I feel like, the low was starting 1-5, and Derrick Henry played a crucial part in that. And that following week, After the intense game against the Lions, we go and we play the Kansas City Chiefs. And in that game, Lamar got hurt, and we on the way to being 1-3. We couldn't tell how Lamar got hurt. It kind of seemed like, he quit and gave up, and that was like the narrative that people were saying. And, just from there, it went downhill. We lost to the Texans. We lost a close one to the Rams when we got Roquan Smith and the defense back together. And I was also mad with that Texans loss because they were still mad that we beat them in the playoffs and we beat them that Christmas the year before, so they tried to take it out on us, but they took it out on us, without Kyle Hamilton, without Roquan Smith, without Lamar Jackson, so at this point, man, we 1-5, everything is bad, everything is wrong. Fire Harbaugh, trade Lamar, all the negatives, but there was only one bright spot, and that was the schedule, and we had an easier set of games coming up. I look back at the Bears victory, which will be our next victory at the Rams. I look back at that, and I'm amazed what Tyler Huntley did in that victory. Being as though the Bears defense caused the most turnovers throughout the season, and you can see that how far they went in the playoffs this year. So that was a really big signature win for us, our first bit of year, and we got back in 5 games straight. Now we're 6-5. It's life in the city, it's life in the fan base. Now everybody believes, and it felt like it was just a hump, and we got over it. And now it was like, yeah, we're going to go beat the Ravens again and go out here and play some good football. Okay, so we're atop the AFC North, and it's a banging night in the city, Thursday night against the Bengals, Thanksgiving. We got our second arch nemesis behind the Steelers in the house. And, Lamar Jackson, the Ravens are going to go do that thing, right? No. They had the worst game, mainly offensively, that they've had all season. And when Lamar came back from his injury, during those 5 wins, you could tell that the offense wasn't the same. Because Derrick Henry fumbled in the first 3 games, he was not, breaking those big runs. And we didn't see that iconic stiff arm that we used to see. Because now Derrick Henry had to worry about holding the ball with 2 hands. And there was a bright spot in Keaton Mitchell. But then you'll continuously look and you'll see dude number 26, Rashid Ali, in the game. And, I feel like that was a coaching blunder by the coaches all year. Like, Keaton Mitchell should have had way more touches. But this Rashid Ali thing, it baffled me. Because I go back to, week 18, our last game. And I'm thinking, okay, Ali be in the game for pass blocking, maybe. But then, that game, we just see Nick Herbert just come, blows Ali up, sacks Lamar Jackson, and now here we go, punting the ball when we were in decent position, moving the football at first. So I just could never understood why Ali was in the game as he was. But my point is, the offense was declining going to that Cincinnati Bengals game on Thanksgiving night. And everything exposed itself right then and there. And then that next game where Isaiah Likely caught the ball for a touchdown, but they didn't call it a touchdown. And you also had a penalty that was called on Travis Jones that wasn't a real penalty, that didn't occur. And instead of the field goal, they got a touchdown because Kenneth Gainwell scored the next play. So when you think about that game, I believe we lost by 2 or 3 points. But the Steelers was technically supposed to have 4 less points. So it's like it's like the thing about the NFL that gets me is like the margin for error is just so small. The small little things could come back to haunt you, and I feel like these guys go out and work too hard and put too much into the game. And then you also have people that like bet and gamble and, that have stuff on the game. People are only going to continuously do that if the game has integrity. And I feel like, man, a lot of this is sports in general. When the referees are dictating the outcome to games, I mean, it takes all the sauce and excitement, and it takes the quality away from everything, especially when it's controversial calls, not calls that are like evident, or when it decides a game. And I mean, people jobs, people get fired behind, these things. And, to really see us like, when you think back to the frustrations of this year and you see us lose 2 games because of refereeing, and you think we one game we would have been in, and now we done lost our coach, and things are happening in this franchise. It's just like, man, I just feel like, man, my heart goes out to the guys because they put so much into it. And us as fans, as YouTubers or wherever we are, we put a lot of passion into this too. So hopefully, man, officiating is something that that they can address, and that's in all sports. Um, so we lose to the Steelers. Now we're on a 2-game sled after winning 5. We're not in that first place in the NFC North anymore, and things are looking kind of murky. Then we go and play the Bengals in the closest game of the season in Cincinnati. And when we held the Bengals to 0 points, I'm like, okay, maybe now we're back. Okay, we held the Bengals to 0 points. Now we can get a flow. Now the guys can get comfortable and start rolling. We kind of still control our own destiny. Let's just win out. And then we go and play the Patriots. And the last 2 games of the season is where you can see those little things that we didn't address, where you can see them just come and bite us in the behind. Pass rushing and offensive line. But it was also Derrick Henry, a guy who you already lost 2 games because of, already fumbled the first 3 games of the season, fumbled in the middle of in the beginning of the Patriots game, and now everybody want to know, why isn't Derrick Henry in the game the last quarter? Because Derrick Henry over his career has over 10 fumbles. Yes, Derrick Henry has over 10 fumbles in the fourth quarter. Look at this metric. In the fourth quarter. So that's why he wasn't in the game. And I believe that was totally a trust thing. Right there. And Lamar got hurt. And we almost pulled it out, but we didn't at the end. Because our defense, one thing they lacked this year was just being able to hold leads, protect leads. Fourth quarter, games we gotta have a stop. They weren't those guys this year, and I believe that's because of Zach Orr. But I'm about to get into that. So we lost to the Patriots, and then it's just looking like we got like a 7% chance to make the playoffs, and Lamar's hurt. Got the Packers next week, a playoff team. And Tyler Huntley goes in there, man. And the Ravens look like the Ravens. I think for maybe the only time last year. It's the only game they looked like the Ravens was against the Packers. And here it is. Cleveland pulls a miracle. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. And week 18 is the game that's for everything. And what do? We go out there, and like I said, see all the little things just start to catch up with us. Lamar Jackson's interception was because of the offensive line, and that led to Pittsburgh Steelers points. The defense just couldn't get a stop. Kyle Hamilton had got hurt. Um, they wasn't giving the ball Derrick Henry consistently enough. He wasn't letting Keaton Mitchell touch the ball, especially in the pass game consistently enough. Lamar is still taking these sacks and holding the ball. And I think every touchdown was like off and explosive play. And when it came down to it, we lost the game. We didn't make the playoffs. Harbaugh's fired. Now the franchise is on to a new direction. But first, before I go into the bigger overview of this offseason, the team, and the offense and defense, I'll tell you guys a story about this guy, Tyler Luke. Here you see me meeting Tyler Luke. I met Tyler Luke in November. Here we talk. And this video right here, right before I made this video, I said, hey, Tyler. I say, man, you're a decent kicker so far. I said, you're struggling from beyond 50, but I said, you're a great kicker. And I said, you cool with me. I said, just don't miss a kick in the playoffs. And I know the game against the Steelers wasn't the playoffs, but it was an elimination game. So it was the playoffs. And that kick was to advance. It's not like they would have had 30 seconds left and we don't know what would have happened. No, that kick, and this is a whole different story and season. We could still be in it. And I just thought it was kind of ironic how I sat and had this conversation. I say, hey, man, I got a channel. I'm trying to support the Ravens. And, could you just, let everybody know to tune in with me, And we had that conversation about not missing the field goal when it mattered the most. And he missed it. So, man, to be honest, I have no sympathy for Tyler Luke. You're a field goal kicker, man. Make the kick. But offensively, man, we took a lot of steps back. I think Lamar took a lot of steps back. I think his running less allowed the defense to deploy more resources to other parts of the field, and that's why he was less effective. He used his legs less. He got hurt twice this year on 2 plays where didn't even like he got hurt. There was a lot of overthrows. I remember the Zay Flowers and DeAndre Hopkins. And in 2019 and 2020, when Lamar was still struggling as a passer, that was his problem when he missed high. And he did that a lot this year. He missed high. The offensive line was atrocious. And we all know that it was atrocious. It wasn't just Falele. Roger Rosengarten picked the perfect, time this year to have his sophomore slump. And Tyler Linderbaum, them big guys, them big defensive tackles was handling him a little bit. Tyler Linderbaum just has the agility and the determination, but he got to get back into the weight room. And we know about Falele. Voorhees, was historically horrible at left guard. Anytime we could not run the ball interior all year. I bet you we go look at some highlights somewhere. All of our big runs were on pitches and stretch plays. We could literally not run in the interior all year. And Lamar didn't do the offensive line any favors when he consistently holds the ball and takes sacks. And I got a challenge. I want somebody to send me one video of Lamar Jackson throwing the football away. Nobody's open. Go throw it out of bounds. Because in the beginning of the year, he would outrun you. The beginning of his career, he would outrun you. And then as he grew into a veteran and at his MVPs, then he'll go over the top. And now this year was just, I'm taking a sack. And he did it previous years, but now I'm taking a sack. Instead of throwing the ball away, taking a sack, it's kind of like equivalent to, when you get that penalty during your drive. 9 times out of 10, you might end up punting, not being able to recover for that. So when you take that sack during the drive, 9 times out of 10, you will end up punting. We ain't recover for that. Lamar Jackson took way too many sacks this year, and it was on him. It was on him. He declined a lot. I think he'll come back next year with a vengeance. I basically expressed a thing about Derrick Henry. He declined. He cost us a few games. Just simply couldn't hold on to the football, and that's something that unconsciously he's done all his career as held on to the football, and it has to be something that was in the back of his mind as we played through the season, and he just wasn't the same. Zay Flowers struggled a lot on catches on the sideline, which involved keeping 2 feet in bounds. Isaiah Likely, a huge disappointment. Everybody questioned when we extended Mark Andrews. And I mean, Mark Andrews, our most intelligent receiver, he had a good year. Quite frankly, he didn't get targeted enough. He needs to be targeted like Kittle and Kelsey do. He needs the 8 targets a game. But Lamar get into this thing where he want to force the ball to his homeboy, because he did it with Hollywood Brown, keep throwing the ball to Zay Flowers when your guy is Mark Andrews and he needs to get the ball. But no, we chose to go to Isaiah Likely, and he wants to fumble on the goal line, can't hold on to catches because he want to catch the ball in style. And I mean, it was disappointing offensively. And I mean, even though the offensive line was atrocious, we still had chance. We still put points up on the board. We still were explosive at times. So I just think it's just simple. Lamar work out this offseason. O line just get a new one. Okay, so with the defense, I was highly impressed with Travis Jones this year. He, as a defensive tackle, led the team in sacks with 5. Metabike not being there definitely hurt us a lot. Definitely hurt the interior of the pass rushing. I was impressed with Mike Green. I will say that like Judon, like Owe, like a lot of pass rushes we had throughout the years, it's like they get home and they just like can never bring the quarterback to the ground. And I mean, it's so weird that it's always like that with Ravens pass rushers, that they get to the quarterback and can never bring one to the ground. But I mean, his pass rushing moves, his arsenal is elite. With our new coach, I definitely think that Mike Green take the next step. Roquan Smith had a great year. Not enough splash plays. There was an interception that was taken away from him. That was really an interception. It was just so crazy about that because we never heard anything about that after that didn't happen. Um, but he had a great year. He had no sacks. Like I said, there's not enough splash plays, but had a great year. Teddy Buchanan, I believe he started off rocky, but he was coming on. Had a great year. I believe he was very, very, very effective against the run. As far as the secondary, the Jair Alexander thing, that that was um, that was surprising. That was surprising. I thought Jair would come over and have a great year, like most veterans do when they come on this defense. I thought he would have a great year. Aloy Gilman was a blessing. He was a thumper. He played his heart out. Marlon had a great second year, and the reason why I say second year because I felt like he had a huge decline after he got that contract. But I mean, last year he balled out. This year he balled out too. Less plays, when he's getting beat deep, and yeah, he had a great year. Malachi Starks, I think he had an okay year. He can cover a lot of ground. But like I said, I think he had an okay year. Nate Wiggins, if I could give a defensive MVP, I would give it to Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins is that guy. He can now tackle very well. He can cover very well. He's asking for number one wide receivers. He put that speed to work, and I mean, he had a great year. And I mean, of course, it's Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton, the only All Pro. on our defense, and I mean, Kyle Hamilton, not enough splash plays, but I mean, just his ability to be here, be there, be everywhere. I mean, the sack on Shador Sanders was iconic. Gave him his welcome to the NFL moment. So I'm so thankful that Kyle Hamilton was able to get his contract. I'm thankful that he'll be a Raven for the next few years, and he had a great season. The defense got the guys, but Zach Orr is probably the worst coordinator that we ever had. And I mean, his even like I mean, you could see it in week 18. His play calling and like the zone. I mean, like we have Marlon Humphrey and we got Nate Wiggins and we got Kyle Hamilton. These guys play elite man coverage defense, tight man coverage defense, all of them. But we constantly calling cover two Tampa, cover three, and I mean teams are just beating us. I mean Aaron Rodgers threw it on a rope. The Pratt Fryer move just whoop, right there, and I mean it's third and long. I mean he did it all last game when we went up and took the lead against the Steelers. I mean there was a play where we had three safeties deep. Like we like it's 3 seconds left. Like we got three safeties deep. And I mean they converted the third down. They converted the fourth down. I mean this is to go and be in the playoffs here we talking about. And I mean he did it all year. And there was also a part in his defensive scheme where receivers will come in motion, and because of the zone, it messes up the disguise, and now you can tell that it's a zone defense because there's no way that we'll ever have Roquan Smith lined up one on one with Jamar Chase in the slot. So it's gotta be a zone defense. And even with the lack of pass rush, Zach Orr's inability to just call the plays, call the correct plays, knowing when to call zone, knowing when to call man coverage, knowing when to blitz, just knowing when to is why this defense took a major step back. And I'm not worried about the defense. I'm not worried about if we'll get stops and all that again. We got the guys. We got the guys. Focus on pass rush for real this year and this time. And like I said, we got the guys, and I think our defense will come back and will be a top five, possibly a top three defense next year. I truly believe that, and that's just everybody take the necessary steps. But John Harbaugh, man, him getting fired to me, it's like the most devastating thing. And I kind of addressed it in the middle of this video. Like I said, the margin for error in the NFL is so low. I mean, look at Mike Tomlin. He never had a losing season in Pittsburgh. Get him to the playoffs, and he's fired. I mean, what? John Harbaugh. I mean, yes, our offensive line struggled. Yes, the defense struggled a little bit. But guess what? At the end of the day, we would have made a field goal and been in the playoffs, right? But Derrick Henry fumbled against the Bills. Derrick Henry fumbled against the Lions. That's two losses right there. You also got the loss at Pittsburgh and Luke field goal. And the loss at Pittsburgh, I mean, Isaiah Likely, the football catch. Those three wins is a whole other conversation we had. But instead, John Harbaugh lost his job behind other players. And same thing with the Bills and McDermott, man. It's like it's NFL is a winning culture, and I get all that, but the margin for error is so small, man. And I just feel like with Lamar and him getting older, and man, I don't want our window to close. While we have a great roster, while we're not in a cap jail, and our cap is good, and got a lot of draft picks. I mean, we gotta do this. We gotta get this right, man. We just gotta get this right. And what makes it so much more upsetting, I mean, I could run through a wall right now. What makes it so much more upsetting not being able to make it this year is we wouldn't have to worry about Patrick Mahomes, right? And our path would have possibly been the Texans, who we already whooped up on in the playoffs before. It would have been Texans, right? Buffalo, Broncos. Man, the AFC Championship could be going to get played at M&T Bank tomorrow. Like, it's like the league is so much parity. It's so wide open. I mean, there's only 4 teams left, and we still don't know who's going to win this thing. Like, it is so wide open, and that's why, like, I feel like that's why Harbaugh got the boot, because the owner is so frustrated because this had to be the year. You at least to make the playoffs. You got the Patriots, the Jaguars. What? You guys said no Chiefs, no Bengals, none of your arch nemesis. So it's like, man, huge missed opportunity. I understand the frustration, but man, I feel like we're gonna be back with the vendors next year. We're gonna do our thing under new leadership. And man, I feel like that presser by Scotty was just it was historic because I feel like he did that to let the world know like John Harbaugh is gone, but I'm still here, and the culture, everything we built here is because of me, the owner, not because of John. We're gonna be all right. We're still moving in the right direction. I feel like it was reassurance, So man, I would like to see us do a lot of things. I don't think we should resign Linderbaum. We get work something out with Lamar to bring his cat down. And I mean, we need a dog on that defense side of the ball for pass rusher. We need a straight guy. And man, I think we get that. We're gonna be all right. Focus on the running back thing. Man, try to make Keaton Mitchell man number one back. Feature him more in the pass game. Mark Andrews, feed him the football, find ways for Zay to get the ball, get him to, not be out there talking so much and actually play the game and hold on to the football. And man, we're gonna be alright, man. The only sad thing, like I just said, man, next year we might gotta go through Patrick Mahomes. Might gotta go through Joe Burrow. But I mean, hey, it's the NFL, man. But man, thank y'all, Ravens fans. Thank y'all. We'll have a good off season. Be here for every update. And even though it was a frustrating season, man, as always, it's still a good one, man. I feel like you know how some failures could be learning experiences. I just hope that this is a learning experience for the guys, man. But until next time.